Welcome back to a special edition of the Legacymakers podcast called the Integrated Dad Podcast Series. This is episode 2 of the Integrated Dad. In today's episode, we're going to discuss and review what integrity is and what it looks like and how we can apply this incredible tool to our lives to build a powerful legacy. Look for ways and practical steps that you can start implementing the tool of integrity into your life every single day. If this podcast episode encourages you or inspires you, would you please subscribe and rate this podcast to help us spread the word about the Legacymakers movement? Enjoy the show. All right. Hey, welcome back. This is episode 2. We are so excited to keep diving into the subject of integrity. Such an important subject. We learned last episode so much. Integrity is being whole and complete with your word. Are you your word? And we ended the show with just the concept of the power that we have with our word to build trust with our families, especially with our kids, and especially as it relates to building a powerful legacy. We have to have integrity in our life. We have to be building that tool and that muscle in our lives if, the legacy that we want to pass down is one that we're going to be proud of, our kids are going to be proud of, every generation that follows is proud of. So integrity is so, so important. And we're so thankful just to have Seth and CJ on the show again, helping us just really digest and dive into this subject. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Really excited for this next step of the conversation and just looking at how does this work? What are some things that we can do to start building integrity? Maybe we're not there yet. Maybe we are in that shame category. Maybe we're feeling a little bit down on ourselves for, we keep saying things, but we're not really living up to it. Well, it's okay. We can grow. And so that's really where this conversation is going to start. Andy Stanley actually has this book. I like to talk about this. He has this book called Better Decisions, Fewer Regrets. And he asks this legacy question. And I think it does pertain to how integrity, wraps in with our legacy. He asks, what kind of story do you want to tell? And better yet, what kind of story do you want told about you? And when he's asking that question in the book, he's actually referring to our decisions and the type of decisions we make with our life. And I think that integrity has a lot to do with our decisions and the things that we say we will do. But as I mentioned, how easy is it to say one thing and do the opposite or do something else? And so really, let's dive into how can integrity really help us make better decisions, and how can we follow through with those decisions with the tool of integrity. Okay? Sound good?
Let's do it.
So if we know what integrity is, and we know what it does, and we know what it looks like and what it doesn't look like, how can we start implementing this practice? What are some things that we can just start doing? Maybe small, maybe big. I don't know. What do you guys kind of think about that?
Yeah, and as we do part 2 of this conversation, I think it's worth saying that some of the stuff we're talking about our definition of integrity is what it takes for something to be whole and complete.
Yeah.
And if a person is whole and complete, then that means that their word is whole and complete. Yeah. So sometimes you can hear statements like that and you're just like, gosh, I don't know, do I agree with that? Does that land for me, right? And for the purpose of this conversation, we're not saying that it is true. We're just asking you to try it on and just say, hey, try it on like a jacket, That's great. New jacket, and see if it fits. Is there 3% of your life that could be improved when you, like CJ said, take a stand in this way? Does it change the way you see your life? Does it change the way you show up as a dad or as a husband? And so we're just inviting you to try this on, lift the weight. You could drop it later if it's not a fit for you later, but just hang with us as we play with this tool.
I love that. I think that's a great idea. And I think, I remember when I first started my coaching, I was like, this is interesting. But I think it's definitely worth trying on the weight. I can attest to that. It'll change your life, so do it. But let's just keep going. What are some ways that we can start practicing integrity?
Okay, so when we think about a person who's whole and complete, and when their word is whole and complete, I think it'd be helpful to break this down like into the 3 ways that you can keep your word whole and complete. So if you're interested in keeping your word whole and complete, there's 3 simple ways that you can do that.
Yeah.
One way is to just simply do what you say you're going to do. Okay? Like,
wow.
Groundbreaking.
Deep. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And what's interesting about this, this is kind of a funny story, but I mean, have you guys ever seen the movie Silence of the Lambs?
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, no.
Okay, yeah. So it's an old movie, and there's a serial killer named Hannibal Lecter, and he has this interesting way that he takes his victims' lives. He says, like, he calls them and he's like, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to eat you.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
it's really graphic and really gnarly. But like Hannibal Lecter has integrity. Like
I guess so. I guess he does.
He does what he says he's going to do, and then he does it.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I mean, and so we worry about criminals like Hannibal Lecter, right?
Yeah, we do.
Like, we actually want the criminals that are, sitting on the couch being like, we should rob a bank. And then they don't do it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, right.
So, so just simply keeping your word, right? Like that's one of the ways that we stay whole and complete is that we actually just keep our word. Okay. So the second way that we keep our word whole and complete is to let the appropriate parties know when you're not going to keep your word.
Okay. Interesting. So, okay. What does that look like? What does that mean? Like,
yeah. So, for instance, to this meeting, it was we're going to record this podcast at 11, and I shut my car off at 10:58. Okay, so I actually ran like from the parking lot into this room because I was like, we're talking about integrity today.
I love it.
And I totally debated
baby.
of stopping and like calling you and being like, hey, I'm probably going to be like 1 minute late or 2 minutes late.
Yeah.
Like so that I could, what we call tend to my word.
Tending to your word.
Okay, so integrity doesn't depend on you doing every single dang thing you said you're going to do. And here's why. Like if you're up to something big in your life, like you're going to go like do something crazy with your son, or you're going to you're up to big goals or big outcomes or at your business or at your work.
You're not going to be perfect in making every commitment.
Yeah, you can't be expected to be perfect to uphold every single commitment that you said. And so what happens is when you develop this habit of tending to your word, what you're doing is you're tending to the trust. You're like I want to keep this trust high between Ben and I. I said I would be here at 11. I'm going to call him. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to be 2 minutes late. Yeah. And that tends to my word.
Wow.
It also teaches myself to trust my own word. Yeah. Because that's what we were talking about at the end of the last episode with CJ is like when you don't trust your own word, you don't trust yourself to set the alarm and get up and go to the gym. You have this breakdown because you stop trusting yourself.
Yeah, I listened to this podcast the other day. And oh, sorry, go ahead, CJ.
Oh, yeah, sorry. One important part of that second rule is that you let the appropriate parties know, and it's as soon as you know, you're not going to be able to keep the commitment. Because let's say Seth was going to be like 10 minutes late and he just didn't honor his word till after, or take another example. Those 10 minutes, he's going to be feeling disempowered and he's going to be lacking integrity and he's going to be having a lower quality of life. So as soon as you know, you're not going to be able to keep your word is when you have to out yourself that you're going to lack integrity to spare you, like really to spare you and the other people, but mainly you, like the ability to have peace of mind and to create power with your word.
Totally. Dang, man. Okay, what's the third thing?
Okay, so the third one is whenever you let the appropriate parties know that you're not going to be able to keep your commitment, there's a last step to that, which is having a conversation around cleaning up the mess of whatever was created by your not being able to do what you said you would do.
So is that like asking for forgiveness or saying sorry or something?
I think it could be asking for forgiveness, but it could also be, hey, Ben, just a quick question like, hey, I'm not able to keep my commitment to be here at 11. It's going to be 11:05. Like, how did that impact you? Like, what mess did that create? Right? And I have no idea. I could assume like everything's fine, but you could be like, well, I've got CJ here on Zoom. Like the whole thing's ready and waiting. Like, right? Like, I'm paying money for this booth that we're in to record this podcast, whatever it is. Like, there's usually an effect that happens when we don't keep our word. And so if I just blow by that and I don't care about that, what does that say about how I love you or how I care about the trust that's in our relationship? So this idea of keeping your word and tending to your word are three simple ways that we can stay whole and complete in our word as a person.
Wait, so that last point though, so let's just say, yeah, someone did like tell you how it made them feel or how it impacted them. Like, what do you do with that? Like, how can I help? Can I repay you, or is there like a way to resolve or rectify that, or what?
Yeah, and again, we could talk about this too. Like when we have trust that's broken, oftentimes what we'll do is we'll talk about like, hey, what's a great process for restoring trust? And one of the ways that we like to do it is we like to invite people just to tell on themselves, like, hey. Like it's up to me to be able to say to you, "Hey, I broke my commitment to be here at 11. Like I think we may have some broken trust here, like in this, right?" And then what I can do, and then what I can say after that, I can say, "Hey, how did that impact you?"
Yeah,
and it just gives you a chance to say how that impacted you. And sometimes it's like, "Oh, nothing, no big deal, no worries," right?
Yeah,
and I can actually press back and say, "Well, really, like, how did it impact you?"
Yeah.
Like, and we can kind of tease that out a little bit.
Yeah, I love that. Something that my a mentor has said to me before about kind of that same idea about how did it impact you. He always says, make sure you ask, is there anything I can do to make it up to you? Because then it it gives them the opportunity, or it puts puts almost the weight, I guess, maybe back in their hands, or the power back in their hands, since you took it from them in a sense. It puts it back in their hands, and then it gives them the chance to either say, it's okay, it's don't worry about it, or actually, could you make sure you do this next time, whatever.
I like what you said there about like the power coming back to the offended, because oftentimes we'll blow it or we'll break a commitment or whatever it may be, and we just are like, I'm sorry, oh man, I'm so sorry, Ben, I'm so sorry, right? And at some point, like, it becomes about me, and my drama around sorry, right? And like you're like, it's fine, like don't freak out. And I've totally just diminished you, the person I hurt. And so what we like to do is be like let go of I'm sorry, and maybe adopt the word like, do you forgive me? Like it's actually a question to the person. Right? So the power is given to them, like you said. And then they have the ability to forgive or not.
Well, I appreciate that last point, because that's been really helpful with my own kids. So as I've told them something and broken my commitment with my children, and I'll be like, guys, I'm really sorry. But then I would go and actually say, you know what, is there anything I can do to make it up to you? And it would like instantly change their demeanor, from being like, gosh dang it, Dad, why do you do this again? From like, actually, no, it's okay. Or like, actually, can we play right now? I'm like, okay, we can do that. And it's been super helpful. But I love those 3 points of how we can start building integrity, keeping your word, or, doing what you say you do, tending to your word, and then asking if there's any way that it impacted you.
Yeah. Or what can I do to help clean the mess up?
Right? How can I clean the mess up?
Yeah.
I love that.
Right. And you can, this might be helpful to some viewers if you're visual-ish kind of learner, is you can replace the word tend with honor your word. And if you trace that to the dictionary definition of honor, is to give something your highest regard. And so we like to take the stand that you should be someone who gives your word your highest regard. I mentioned it a little bit in the last episode, but you should imagine that your word is an extension of yourself. It is how you are constituted in language, is by what you say, and that's who you are. And so if I'm giving my word, and I want to make sure that I'm able to keep it, and if not, honor it by giving it my highest regard.
I love that. And CJ, just as a review, like from last episode, like quickly, like what happens when you don't hold it as your highest regard? Because I mean, there's a lot of things that we could hold in high regard, but what's the cost of not holding integrity in high regard?
Yeah, it's a super good question. If you look in your life, and most people that are listening, it'd probably be the easiest way to do it is when you don't honor your word, or you don't out yourself about where you haven't kept your word, you're gonna lack peace of mind. You're gonna lack freedom. You're gonna lack appreciation. You're gonna lack self-expression. You're going to have anxiety and stress and fear.
Yeah.
And then you're going to lack power, which just means you're going to not be able to say things and then make them happen. Because, again, this might be a very diverse way of thinking, but if who you are is your word and you start to not keep that word, you are diminished as a person, which just means I can't do things that I say I'm going to do because I'm diminished. Like my amount of power when I say something is diminished. And one other quick thought that I had around your point, Seth, around sorry. That like I don't want that to go unnoticed. I think that is a really big opportunity for most people is when they don't do something they just repeat sorry a lot, and they do make them about themselves. And we could take the stand that being sorry is actually a lack of integrity, because if we last episode, for like new listeners, last episode we talked about integrity being a bicycle analogy.
Yeah.
That's like someone riding a bike with a flat tire, and I'm like, hey, you have a flat tire, and they're like, no, I'm so sorry, I just ran over a nail. It doesn't negate the fact that you have a nail in your tire. It's still flat.
Yeah.
And so like, what's the opportunity for performance?
Yeah.
Diminished.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, really quick. I want to just hit on tending to your word, or honoring your word again. Because I remember in coaching with you, you related it to tending to a garden, and how there's different, components, like, you water it, or you fertilize it, or you, prune it. I'm just curious, like, is there any insight into a little bit more of that, maybe practical? How can you tend to your word?
Yeah, that's really good. So imagine if every commitment you made is a seed you planted in the garden. Okay.
Wow.
So you just start thinking about all the things you would do to tend that seed, to get it to actually sprout, to get it to go, right?
Yeah.
So probably some things you would do is you would, you'd have some understanding where that seed is in your garden, right? Like, 'cause you're not just going to water the path or some random bush. It's the seeds here, right? So there's an understanding of where the seeds are. And if I'm using that analogy, I would say, where are all your commitments? Like, where do they live? Like, could you go and find them all?
Wow. Dang. No, I could not.
Okay.
I'm screwed.
And so oftentimes, especially if someone's struggling with time management, this is often like the honey hole that we get to poke here, is this idea of like, where do your commitments live? Like, and oftentimes when you start peeling back the layers, you'll realize the person has like 5 to-do lists. There's one on the fridge, one on their phone, one on their diary, like one, and then there's multiple calendars. There's the work calendar, the home calendar, like, and all of a sudden it's like they're living like 3.5 lives, expecting like all this to align, right? And so I think one of the big ways that people get in their way when they're is that they don't actually have current reality. They don't have a clear statement of all the things that they say they're committed to.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And so all these things just live kind of in the ether, in the back closets, and they don't realize the cost, like CJ mentioned, that's having on them, the weight, the drag. And we kind of call that normal. I'm tired. I don't have energy. It's like, well, you probably have lots of closets of things you say you're going to do, but don't. And that's subtly eating at you.
How can we get clear on that, get a clear picture on that, like where our commitments live and whatnot?
Yeah, I don't think it has to look one certain way for each person. I think it can be different. And this is always a fun conversation when clients come to me with not having good time management. I think the first step is to acknowledge current reality, like Seth said, about your time management. Like, do you have one calendar? Do you have 10? Most of the times when we work with clients, they have a lot more than one.
Yeah.
And so first is like just acknowledging where you don't have maybe the greatest time management skills. And then I guess you can make like a vision around it. Like, what do you want your time management to look like? Do you want to have one schedule? And do you want to be a master of your time? Do you want to be able to have a great work-life balance? Like, what is, a little bit of vision around it. And then you just tie it to are you writing everything down? Are you completing your day at the end of each day? Are you honoring your word, like we talked about a second ago? Are you planning your week from your life goals? Are you using do you have life goals? Are you planning your world around life goals? Right. So there's like some tips that you could go into. But at a foundation, it's having your word in existence, like on a piece of paper and a calendar or something like that.
So is there a way to like consolidate, or how would you like almost simplify it, or maybe make a clean slate? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's really good. I might be indirectly answering your question or not, so feel free to re-ask it.
Okay.
But the only way to get a clean slate is by outing yourself about all the things that you have lacked integrity around. So I can't just say like, okay, from today, I'm going to have a clean slate and
starting over.
I'm going to start keeping my commitments. When it comes to the definition of honoring our word, the only way to get to a new level and I guess a clean slate or a foundation of integrity is by outing yourself on where you have not kept your commitments and then honoring those commitments. It's so funny. Like, One tidbit I always tell clients is if you cannot fill up a page at pretty much any given moment on where you're lacking integrity, you're not looking hard enough. Yeah. And people are,
that's good.
I'm surprised even myself when I do an integrity check. Like I'll sit down for like 10 minutes and I'll have like 3. I'm like, there's no way I could fill up a page. And then 15 minutes later, I'm like 2 pages down and I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's why I've been feeling out of whack.
So that's a good practice, is like writing everything down. Okay.
Yeah. I'm smiling because in our firm, we do the work that we're talking about here. So CJ was coaching me, and he held a space for me about my integrity. And he's like, I want to invite you to actually write down all the things that you say you're committed to.
Wow.
And honestly, I was like, no, that'll take me like 3 hours, and I resisted it.
I don't have time.
For 2 weeks. Yeah. And then I was on another coaching call where another coach was holding space for me. And I realized that all the things I said I wanted to do were not happening because my integrity was low. Like the muscles had kind of atrophied a little bit. And I was seeing the results of not having a clear picture of what I was committed to and what I wasn't. It was like a chain. I like noticed the chain on my foot. I was like, oh, hey. And I was like, okay, that request that CJ asked me or, invited me into, I'm going to go do it. And it literally took me 20 minutes, to just get, and there's probably some things that I might have missed, but just having that all out was enough to go, whoa, this is the ball that I'm dragging. Huh. Right?
Wow.
I say I'm going to do all of these things.
Dang.
Am I committed to all this? Do I want to be committed to this? Do I want to change? All of a sudden power came back into me just in that moment because I had a clear picture. It's almost like, have you ever thought you had plenty of money in your account and you're just like, oh yeah, we can buy that, or let's buy that couch or whatever. And then all of a sudden you get your statement and it smacks you in the face. Where did all the money go? When we say current reality, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about hey, do you have tools that help you get clear on where you're at? And that practice of writing out all the things you say you're committed to is a way to get clear on current reality so that you can then be sober and you can say, hey, we're not buying that couch, or I am not committed to, waking up 5 mornings a morning to go work out. That's just I'm not committed to that. Right. And there's a power to not being committed to things. Right.
What do you think? Sorry, go ahead.
There's 2 really big things that come up from that. The first is, if we circle back to the bicycle analogy, imagine you're riding flat tires and you don't know you're riding a bike with flat tires. And you're trying to do everything in your power to try and win the race. And you have complete blind spots around your tires being flat. It's going to be really, really hard to bite that tire. And so me inviting Seth to get clear on his integrity list is him starting to fill those tires back up with air so he can actually enjoy the ride and he can actually get from point A to point B efficiently. And that's how most people operate, in business, in life, in anything. They don't know that they're lacking integrity, and they just think that the reason they feel this way is because that's just the way that life is. And we are inviting you to say, set that aside for a sec and just sit in the question of, what if it is because I'm lacking integrity? I don't know if it is. I'm not saying integrity is the only answer, but I am saying I know the power that it brings. And the second thing I want to add is that when you're doing that integrity checklist, or when you are writing out all the areas that you have not done something, most people will say that it's going to bring up a lot of shame because it doesn't necessarily feel good writing a page of things I have not done. And so we talked about this last episode, and to talk about it again really quick is I like notice the fact that if you were to write it down and feel shame and guilt and feel bad about that, that's going to really get in the way of you accomplishing your tasks because you're more committed to looking good than you are about the opportunity for performance.
Interesting. So notice. Yeah. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about, you said looking good. What tends to...
Can I say one thing before we go to that?
Yeah, for sure.
If you're like me and you're hearing this conversation, I think it's really important to say that just because you fill a list of things that you're out of integrity on, it doesn't mean you don't have integrity in your life. It's not... It's not like an on-off switch where you're like, I either have it or I don't. And if I don't, because of this list is telling me I don't, then I don't have integrity. I'm a bad person. Then you start going into all the whole moral space, right? Like, what we want to do is we want to look at integrity more like a dial. Like it's something that you can turn up. Huh. Okay. So or like a dimmer switch instead of an on-off switch, like a dimmer switch, like something you can adjust or turn up. And so oftentimes like getting that list out on paper helps you to see like the themes or the patterns or maybe the longings you have of where you want integrity and maybe where you don't. And it helps. And so when we're having this conversation with clients or with family members or whatever it is, we're not saying, you don't have integrity. We're just saying like, where would it be helpful to have more integrity in your life? Okay. And so if you're having like physical issues or maybe like you don't feel well, it's like, man, having integrity, like going to the gym every morning, having integrity, that could be a really good thing for me. Like, and so I want to turn up the volume or turn up the dial on my integrity in how I care for myself. That's something I'm personally doing right now because I've been out of integrity in that space. And
let's go.
And it feels great.
Yeah.
You get up and take a walk or run or move the body before you start your day. Like, dang, who knew? Like, awesome. So anyway, I just want to make that distinction that like, if you're feeling some of like the moral shame cloud come over, we're not saying you don't have integrity. Like everybody has integrity. We all said we were going to show up at work and we showed up at work. Like you have integrity, but just where is the opportunity for performance that we could dial up or turn up?
What could be some things that almost like prevent us from wanting to get clear on reality? I only say that because that happens to me all the time. Like what, specifically like, as it relates to money, man, I just want to keep going. Don't want to think about what's going on right now. I want to just, not worry about it. Like what are like the tangibles that keep people from getting clear on reality? What'd you say?
There's what we call survival needs, which, man, we could spend a whole series
survival
on as well.
Needs. Okay.
But to condense it into 5 seconds or a little over is to look good. Well, people naturally inherently are wanting to look good, feel good, be right, be in control. And there's a few others like to avoid domination, to make others wrong, right? So there's a few others, but mainly look good, feel good, be right, be in control. So if we're looking at that money example, like if you're avoiding looking at your bank account and you know that what I assert is probably going to happen is that you're going to look at your bank account and then not feel good or not be right about what you thought it was. And that just naturally as the human condition is we are conditioned to have those things like to look good, be right, be in control, feel good.
Yep. That makes sense.
So when anything combats that, it's really it combats your identity and your ego and like things like that.
Which is
that's interesting.
Which is often like why it's really helpful to have a coach in your life or to have somebody that's walking with you in this integrity space is because you can't see yourself. Like you can't see yourself choosing feel good and look good all the time. Yeah. Like, so it's almost like you have to have an environment where this stuff leaks out, like where you said you made a public commitment to go do something and then you come back and you're like, I didn't do it. Right. And often, again, shame, guilt, all the stuff but it's like, whoa. What if this was like one of the most epic conversations we could have around what's possible for you, like how you're getting in your way. Yeah. So what if those broken commitments could be growth opportunities? and you could actually like sit in it and uncover, oh my gosh,
Dang.
this feeling good thing is showing up here.
It's a pattern.
And like where else does that show up in your life? Like, does it show up with your wife, or like, there's always that, like, throwing your wife under the bus because you want to look good, like in front of, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm throwing my wife under the bus because in the survival needs coming up again, right? Like, and so oftentimes these patterns are like everywhere. And so it's not until you slow down and get into a space where you can actually look at the stuff with somebody to unpack it, that you can then start going like, well, is that what I want? Do I want feeling good to run my life? Like, this is what it does. Right? Like, and if it's not helpful, then it's like, okay, so what could we reimagine, which is kind of back to the vision that you're talking about, CJ.
Yeah. Yeah. And one other thing that I'll add is there's like survival needs. And then particularly as it pertains to integrity specifically, there's these things that I'm not going to go into, but they're called your veils of invisibility, which basically are just blind spots. And so, and it is specific around integrity in your words. So, like me personally, I've been learning about integrity, like diving deep into it for like 6 or 7 years, but I still need a coach to hold a space for me, because everyone is going to have, I have blind spots the exact same that everyone does. Like I've been on the course, and an integrity move for me is to like try and master this distinction called integrity. But the more and more I climb this mountain that has no top, I realize there's just like so much more I want to learn, and I need to learn in order for me to become a quote unquote master of integrity.
I love it.
Because what even is that? I don't think there is one of that, but whatever.
You're going to be the next one.
I hope so.
I love that. There's this thought that we wrote down that I thought maybe we could bring it up, but it's the whole idea of being interested versus being committed. Is there a way to use that concept to kind of help grow our integrity? You know what I'm saying? Like to kind of start, wrapping our lives around being more integrous. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
It's a great distinction. Interested versus committed. We have a massive capacity for things that we're interested in our lives, right? Like our brains are just like, oh yeah, give me some of that. I'd love to do that. Like, when can we do that? Right? Like, it's just like, I am interested in a lot of things. Yeah. But then there's this like smaller part of your brain that's committed to things, right? Like, so like if you were going to go to Spain with your family, like next week, Tuesday at a red eye flight or whatever at 12 at night or whatever it is. Yeah. Like, you're literally planning weeks and weeks in advance, like for that trip, to get the passports in line, the bags packed, like making sure you got a ride to the airport, like all the things, snacks, right? Money. Like the money, like it's literally like a multi-month process because you're committed. It's in the committed part of your brain. You've paid the $5,000 for the tickets, all the thing, and you're going to be on that flight.
You're going to be there.
Right.
Wow, that's interesting. There's definitely a difference in feeling.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what we invite you to try on is this idea of just noticing of like, oh wow, like maybe that's just something I'm interested in. And is that worth giving my word to something that I'm interested in? Like, because with all the costs we talked about before, because that's why you have that big long list, is because you probably have a lot of things you're really interested in, but you're not committed to them. And what we're asserting is that like the quality of your life and the power in your life can dramatically increase when the things that you do decide you want to be committed to, and oftentimes those things are aligned to the vision of what you want to go create. Yeah. When you make that shift into that committed space, you will see a 200-300% performance increase that just blows you away. Wow. And like, you're like, whoa, I had no idea how this lever of integrity could create the life I want.
Well, I think that's helpful. And, you kind of talked about it, CJ, a little bit earlier about vision and how that helps us maybe consolidate or simplify our list. We're going to dive in deeper with like vision in the next episode, but, how can that help us? How can having a vision help us get more clear about what we're interested in versus what we're actually committed to?
Yeah, that's a really good question. If you have a clear vision, well, here's what I'll say. Most of the time when people start to have this vague conversation of vision, it's just that. It's vague. So there's not a clear picture of what someone is like the goal line or the destination they're trying to reach. And so when you get incredibly specific, and you have a clear like picture, as if it's a scene in a movie, like I can tell you what's happening shot by shot. Like if you get incredibly specific around a vision, that's when you're able to start using this tool of integrity and the power aspect to create things that you didn't think were possible. Right, so when you start building your word and you start trusting that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, you can start throwing things out like, my vision is to double the amount of money I'm making this year. And you don't know how, but you trust your word and you make other smaller commitments and things that are going to push you to grow. Like Seth had mentioned earlier, like the second part of it is to grow. Yeah. And so when that's essentially, you get the clear picture, you can make commitments that are going to make you get there. And by the way, if you don't hit the vision, it's fine. Don't shame out about it. But now we have data. The whole point of integrity is for data, like what works and what doesn't work. I'm collecting data when I'm making commitments.
Especially if you're up to something big that you've never done before. Yeah. And really, that's the type of, as coaches, that's the conversation that we're having. Like people don't hire coaches for things that are on their list that they want to do. Like typically they hire them for things there's like, man, this would be a dream if this could happen, right? So, if you're up to something that's big that you've never done before, you're going to be running different plays, different strategies, like learning to figure out how we're going to get there. Because I don't know how to get there. You don't know how to get there. Like we're on this adventure together, right? Like, so integrity again becomes this massive tool of like, hey, go run that play for a month. See what data you get. Let's come back to the lab. Like, did it work? Did it not? And oftentimes when it's that integrity piece that really helps give us the quicker, faster data that then helps us make new commitments to align with our vision. Because like you said, like we don't make commitments just to keep them, we make them to grow. Like very similar, like a wedding vow, right? Like that's some of those vows that we say are just like huge. Like I promise to love and cherish you for the rest of my life. Right?
How am I going to do that?
And like 2 weeks in, you're on the honeymoon and you're like, I hate this woman, or whatever, you're just like, you have a moment where you just want to fight, or like, and it's like, wow, it's like, oh, like, I didn't just make this commitment just to keep it. Like, imagine if we just made like wedding vows that we were just going to keep, right? It's like, I promise to love you like 20% of the time, right? Like, like we make these commitments because they're North Stars, they're aspirational, they take us somewhere. Wow. Right. And so I think that's that piece of like aligning your vision with commitments, because you're committed to a full life with the woman that you've said, I'm going to do this with for hell or high water, right? Like we're going to get there. So I love that. So that's another way commitments are used. They're used to help us grow, not just to keep things, to do things we said we would do.
And I think a really powerful conversation around that as well is, if I were to ask you, like, hey, what's a vision? And I'm to double my revenue or something, and I'd say, how long is that going to take? You're just going to say like 4 or 5 years based off the known past. And you're bringing the known past into the unknown future. And then you're creating a predictable future, which is not how we want to live. Wow. Right. And so you
mind blown. That's a pretty profound concept.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. If you don't have a coach or someone, it doesn't have to be a coach, but someone to help you get there, typically what you're going to do is you're just going to stumble your way until you get there. Like, you're not going to make, commitments that stretch you or anything. You're going to operate most of the time at a 50% quality of life and have a lack of peace of mind all the time and have anxiety. And that's just the way life is. Right. And you'll eventually get to the point where you set it. But we assert it's probably going to take 5, 10, 20 times longer than by making incredibly powerful commitments that you don't know how you're going to keep. So we can stretch you as a person. Right? We know others in the world have done it before. And so let's test out, get data to see what they have done that we can like mimic to also get there.
I love that.
And how do you think that, like, I was thinking about Legacymakers and about showing up as a dad or as a mom, if you're listening to this, I'm curious, like how, like what CJ just said, like how it would apply to the home. Like when you walk into your home, and like I'm asking myself, and this is I think where Legacymakers just fills in the void. It's because it's like, hey guys, like, hey Schmitz, what are you guys committed to? Like, what's your vision? Yeah. What do you want to create in the world? Yep. Right? Yep. Like all of a sudden when that becomes clear, like you start knowing what to do on your weekends.
Yeah.
Right? You start knowing what to do when you see somebody that fits the profile of what you're designed to show up and do in this world, right? Like maybe hospitality is like a big value for you, and it's like there's missionaries coming to town or whatever it is, and it's like hands up. My vision is actually raising my hand for me, even though I may not want to have them here, or I'm feeling tired this weekend or whatever it is. But your vision is saying, you could stay here, right? Like
it's raising your hand for you. Wow, that's good.
Yeah, and so
absolutely,
that's what I really love about what you guys are up to, is this idea that you guys provide that clarity, so that you then can start orienting your life and making commitments around bringing that vision to life.
Well, I like this whole idea of vision and making commitments to grow. And as it relates to what you just said, Seth, we talk about legacy, and not in the financial sense, but in like the values and lifestyle and character that really shapes society, that sense of legacy. And I think that's the question I think we need to ask as dads and as families is, what's my vision for 10 generations from now? What's my vision for 15 generations? What's my vision for my great grandkids? And because that's where our thinking has to go. It's so easy for us to get in a habit of just the survival needs of what you guys were saying, and those are blinders, and they prevent us from really creating the world that we long for. And I mean, in our line of work, we believe that family is the way that we create the world that we long for, and that's why I'm so thankful for this conversation, because, again, we're looking at, integrity is being a man of your word. It's doing what you say. It's tending to your word. It's, asking how can we clean up the mess? It's getting clear on what are you interested in and committed in, or interested in versus what are you committed to? And it's, getting clear on your vision. What's your picture of, your future as a family? What do you want your kids to know and stand for, and all that, and I think that's kind of where we'll really dive in practically and very specifically. This episode number 3 is okay. How do we actually go from step 1 to 10 with integrity to build that powerful legacy, taking these components and these bricks and actually starting to stack them into like a great home of these bricks and pieces of legacy or integrity. But is there anything else that you guys would add? Any other maybe practical just ideas or tips and ways to start practicing integrity just before we kind of close out this episode?
Yeah, I would just reiterate, just to not go it alone. Like whether it's your spouse or a friend, or if you want to hire a coach, or just to have a space where this conversation becomes out of your own head and with somebody else. I think that's really powerful. And it's not like you're it's not like you're your accountability partner when you just kind of you're like, hold me accountable, to what I say I'm going to do. I flop on you, to try to lift me up. It's more like, who can you give an account to? Like this is my word, my vision, the thing that I want to go create in the world. I'm initiating this conversation because I care about my quality of life, and I care about the power of what I can create, who I've been designed to be. Right. And so having community to be able to wrestle with that or to even talk to somebody about and be like, hey, I just feel like I'm out of integrity here, and here. This is my current reality. I've done a current reality. So let's talk about it. Right. And you'd be surprised how powerful it is to just bring that out into the open, and then to figure out you're not the only person, you're not alone in that. And then B, to have somebody advocate for you. And be so good. Hey, well, if we were to realign, let's realign. What would it look like? Let's get you back in the game. Let's get you swinging again versus on the sidelines with your head down. Good. Right. So I think doing it in community is really powerful.
So good. Anything else you would add? Practical steps or ideas, CJ?
Yeah. Similar to what Seth said also is, when you start to put your word into existence, or you call someone or invite someone into your life and have someone calling you to your vision and to the true nature of integrity, don't feel bad if you start to like shame out or something like that. It's like, as a human,
That's
it's
good.
like we talked about survival needs. It's okay to shame out. It's okay to have that. Now the opportunity for performance comes when you can just notice that it's there and try and set it aside and be more interested in your opportunity for performance than you are about how you look. Because we often
awesome.
it really gets in the way.
It does, man. Seriously.
Gosh, think about all the energy that's spent just like sitting in the shame or the guilt.
Oh my gosh.
How long that can sometimes take, right?
Yep.
Sometimes months, years, you know? And it's like, well, what if we could just shift off of that and move back into...
Yeah, my therapist is always telling me, what if you just stop thinking about how you can be better and just be better? Or how you can, whatever. You know? Stop thinking about how all these, just do it, Anyway. This has been a great, great episode. I'm super excited for the next conversation as well, episode 3. Thank you guys for sharing, and we're looking forward to episode 3. We'll see you then. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Integrated Dad podcast series with Legacymakers and Novus Global executive coaches Seth Schmidt and CJ Martindale. If you are looking to take your vision of life or work and turn it into reality, we can't recommend getting coaching with Novus Global and these coaches enough. If that's something you might be interested in, you can email us at team@chooseourlegacy.com or click the link in this podcast. If this episode encouraged or inspired you to build a more powerful legacy for you and your family, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast to help us spread the word about the Legacymakers movement. Thanks again for listening.